Hey, Green Machine friends and fans of fun, we have a new format we are going to push out this week. What we're going to do is we've got a review pile, and it's mostly like maybe number one books, so starting out, and then we'll also have like just a bunch of what we think are the better picks of the week, and then we're going to do a simplified section called Go and No Go, where we will do Go, No Go, maybe one sentence about the books and move on, and that's just sort of to save you time, to maybe save us time. We're just experimenting. We'll see how it goes. If it's good, maybe we'll do it again and go from there. So the first book on our list this week, there was a lot of books this week that are great. Batman Annual. This one, it's weird to start with this one because it was honestly one of my favorite out of the week. It's probably one of the strongest books from the week. But it's basically the way it plays out is it's Alfred's diary, and he's writing about Batman's month, I think about a month and a half of time, and he's got little details about each one, but it's more or less tiptoeing through Batman's history. And what you get in this story is you get the usual lore. You get references to stuff we know. You get, Batman at times in space, Batman fighting regular crimes, Batman solving riddles, Batman, detective stories, and so on and so forth. But it touches something more. As you just sort of, I don't know, slink through his life, you get a lot of the psychology of what goes into how Batman is Batman, essentially, and why Tom King's Batman feels so real and raw at times. More importantly, you get a lot of good one-liners from Alfred. It's great. Honestly, had a great time with this book. It's King, Fornes, Norton, and Stewart. Go pick this up if you're a Batman fan. I don't know how many copies we'll have on the shelf, so yeah, come through, pick them up. Next is Tales from the Dark Multiverse. Oh god, it hurts to say it.
I know.
Okay, I don't like the death of Superman. I hate it. I absolutely hate that book. That book for a number of reasons. One, death is no longer permanent in all comics because of that book. Two, everybody and their mother went out and bought the book, so much so that it flooded the market, and it's worth nothing. On top of that, it caused the comics crash of the 90s. It's one of the biggest reasons for it. So I don't like the death of Superman. I just feel like it's bad luck to even mention it in a comic shop, but we've already mentioned it several times, so we're just going to go from there. Is this the death of Superman? Yes, it is. It plays out pretty much the same, except Lois sort of blames everyone else for not being there when Superman died, and then she winds up with the powers, which we've seen before. We've seen this in the beginning of Rebirth of Superwoman, which, in my opinion, was a great book, but eventually got the axe. And it's centered around Lana Lang and Lois Lane both getting bombarded with a type of radiation when Superman died. And Lois got regular Superman powers, and Lana Lang got red Superman powers. And then Lois died. That version of Lois died. So this is sort of similar, although she doesn't quite get powers in the same way. But it goes into sort of the psyche and the mystique of Superman, and why with DC Comics' iteration of Superman, the world is so lucky to have that version of Superman. Because if somebody else comes into the power, even somebody who seems pretty innocent, it's a problem. So yeah, this is the Dark Multiverse tale of Death of Superman, and it was pretty good. Next is Absolute Carnage, the Venom tie-in. So really, this is Venom. And in my opinion, the Venom books have been the best part of Absolute Carnage. And this one is, well, no different at all, for a lot of good reasons. I mean, we've got a lot of action. More importantly, Sleeper is back in the mix. We do have a little bit more backstory on what's going on with Dylan, Eddie's son. It's not fully explained in this issue, sad face, but we do know sort of that something is occurring, and my guess is that he's got an anti-venom in him. That's just my guess. But I can't wait to find out. I've loved everything about this run. More importantly, we get to see the Thing mess up in probably the biggest way possible. What's a fastball special for the Thing? Do you remember fastball special?
Was that when he throws somebody?
Usually it's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Usually it's Wolverine. This time he kind of grabs the wrong person, and it doesn't work out very well. It's hysterical.
Did you grab Conan?
No, he threw Parker. It was so good. I laughed so hard. Just for that reason alone, you need to go out and buy this issue of Venom. But the whole thing is great. It really, if you're reading Absolute Carnage and you just don't have the money to buy all the main Absolute Carnage titles, just buy Venom. It's great. You get a giant chunk of the story, and it's really, really fun. Donny Cates, Ivan Coella, and Rain Barreto. This is amazing. Honestly, probably the pick of the week. Go pick this up for sure. Next is the 100-page... God, that was shocking. The 100-page Ghost Giant. And that is, well, it's DC Comics Ghost characters, just in time for Halloween. And it's got, of course it's got Batman, Wonder Woman, and Zatanna in it. But it's also got Deadman, who I would be shocked if they did a ghost story without Deadman in it. And then the Spectre is in it. And honestly, the Spectre is probably my favorite story out of this whole book. There's other ones too. Actually, no, I take it back. The Haunting of John Constantine was a pretty darn good story. I had a good time with that one too. But this is great. This is only $4.99, and you're essentially getting a trade paperback of comic. And yeah, the quality of paper and some of the art is not the normal brand you're used to, but it's really good. It's perfectly serviceable. You get a ton of stories, so come pick this up. Next is Excalibur, and this is Howard Toe and Arcia Nega. This is issue number 1, and this is pretty much after the House of X, and they're fleshing out what the other branches of the X-Men universe do in these books. And this one in particular centers around Apocalypse, who is not calling himself Apocalypse anymore. His name is now, Krakoan A symbol. But the way he pronounces, there's like dots and symbols around it.
Formerly known as.
Yeah, so it's the mutant formerly known as Apocalypse is what it is. Like he legit says it at one point, and another mutant's like, I don't even think I can say that. Like I don't know what your problem is. So his job apparently is to deal with theoretical portals. So the portals normally will let mutants through, and they go all places on the Earth and sometimes beyond. In this case, they go to some places way beyond theoretical issues. And one part in particular is this one goes to Avalon. Avalon being the place where what's his name? Captain Britain. Captain Britain goes between, and so this centers around that, and Morgan Le Fay is pretty upset that the portal has wound up in her magic pool of water. And it goes from there. We are going to see a lot of changes in the, X-Men mutant mythos. If you're a Psylocke fan, you need to be on board with this, because something really cool happens. If you're a Mutants fan, this is the fantasy side of it. This is going to be the fantasy side of it. So if you don't like fantasy in your comics, this one is probably skippable. But I did have a pretty good time with it. I think the Marauders book was probably my favorite so far. I'm still waiting to see Fallen Angels, but we'll go from there. Anyways, Excalibur number 1 will be on our shelves. It's pretty good. Come pick it up. Next is Savage Avengers Annual, and this is... Jerry Duggan, Gardy, and Mila, and there is just a lot to unpack with this. It's Conan, Damian Hellstrom, and Black Widow, and the way they come together is pretty comical, but more importantly, Conan lets it known that he really likes redheads when he meets Black Widow, and it's pretty funny. He says, "You smell like black powder and lilac, and it's intoxicating," and she's like, back off. So, I loved everything about it. It was great. I had a really good time with it. These characters were amazing. I didn't know I wanted these characters teamed up, but again, Conan seems to go well with anyone these days. It's really awesome. So, yeah, especially Wolverine. Wolverine and Conan need their own series. So, at any rate, this is Savage Avengers Annual. It's a great read. If you're on board with Savage Avengers, you will be perfectly happy with this book. Our next book is Marvel Zombies Resurrection, and, this is kind of cool. It centers around, old Galactus is, he's dead. He's floating out in space dead, and the Marvel Universe is like, we can't really let him stay out there because he's got so much power tied to him, and people are going to try and harvest him and maybe get tech and all types of other stuff off of him. So we got to go out there and do something about it, and lo and behold, what they find is, the zombie plague is back. So that, it's it's an okay justification for a plague. I just kind of feel like they brought this back because they were like, well, DC is doing Deceased, so we gotta get them back with something else like zombies. So they did Contagion, and now they're doing this. And I don't hate it. It's great. If you like Marvel Zombies, you will be totally happy with this. It's just it's an okay premise so far. I'd like to know more what happened to Galactus, I guess I could say. It's just kind of wild. I'm not sure if this is an ongoing. Do we know if this is ongoing?
Oh, good question.
I have no idea if this is... Oh, yeah, it's an ongoing. It's an ongoing. So we'll go from there. I will say this, that my God, the number of people they get mowed down in the beginning is pretty quick. And something is different about this particular plague. You're going to have to read it to find out. But it's pretty good. So if you like zombies and you like Marvel characters, you will be totally happy with this. If you love Marvel Zombies, this is your jam right here. Trust me. Next is a book that I really wanted to like, but just felt like a big mess. And that is Red Goblin. And granted, I like the Red Goblin character, but I don't think him as a main character is really doing it for me. I don't know. I like anti-heroes, but Carnage symbiote in Norman Osborn's a bit much. And that's what it reads like. It's bloody, it's brutal, it's just not my jam right now. But and the story was a bit confusing and just sort of forced at times. I don't know. I didn't have the best time with it. If you are somebody who likes symbiotes and just needs a little more symbiotes in your life, you might have a good time with this. I don't know. It just wasn't my jam. And I'm somebody who does like Venom quite a bit, so I don't know. But this is Fee Ryan, Gleason Woods, Height During, and Sanchez Almara. God, if that's how many people worked on this book, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to diss you all. I don't know. It just wasn't my jam, but maybe somebody else will like it. But we have copies. Come pick it up if that's your thing. Next is the Nightwing Annual, and well, I do know that the current iteration of Nightwing is coming to an end. And while I did like the Rick Grayson stuff at first, it's worn on me. So I'm kind of happy that it's edging up on that. But more importantly, there might be a reason that he's been Rick Grayson, that he hasn't gotten his memory back. And it might not just be amnesia. And so you need to read this book to find that out. It's great. I had a good time with it. And I'm saying that as somebody who's been pretty harsh on Nightwing lately. I was not bored. I had a good time with it. It ties good with the usual mythos. And this is Jurgens, Moore, and Filardi. So go pick this up. Granted, yeah, this series is coming to an end, but he's got to deal with Talon and the Court of Owls still. So that's going to be a fun fight no matter what. And I think they opened with the Court of Owls in Rebirth. I'm relatively sure that's how Nightwing opened. So it would make sense that they would end with this sort of thing. So come check it out. Next is Ironheart issue number 11, and oh my God, this one hurts. This one hurts so much. Riri Williams' Ironheart has been an amazing run. I have loved everything about it. It's Ewing, Vecchio, Jeffo, and Melia. I know when they announced Nightwing was coming to an end, and I was like, as someone who is a Bat Family giant fan, I'm okay with that. But at the same time, they announced that Ironheart was coming to an end, and I'm not okay with that. I've had the best time with this book. The art has been amazing. The characters, like Ironheart and Shuri, is the best team up ever. Like, they're just fun together. And people on Twitter, there were a lot of salty people, which I have a sneaky suspicion are not the biggest comic fans or haven't read the book. They were like, good. And I was like, if you've been reading this book, I don't think you think it's good. This is a great book. So at any rate, it's issue number 11. I think they're wrapping up at 12, maybe, or they might go a little further. I know they're wrapping up sometime soon. I'm sad to see her go. I'm hoping she's going to wind up on a super team and then wind up back with their own main line again. But Ironheart, come pick this up. Next is Fight Club 3, and, well, I had an issue with how Fight Club 2 ended, and I was pretty vocal about it. Like, it was a really great book for about 7 books, and then it got weird, and I hate to say it, but the same thing is happening with this book. The twist in this book is a bit cringy at best. at best. That's me being nice. It is gross. Not something I wanted from these characters, but it is what it is, and we've got a couple more issues, and maybe Polinick is going to get super deep in the next 2 issues. I'm hoping he is. I'm hoping somehow it pulls this out of the fire, because right now, it's a lot of raw weirdness. Anyways, so that's issue number 10, Fight Club 3. I don't know. Definitely don't start with this book if you've been on the fence. Go read something else. But this might be a sinking series that we've been on. I don't know. They can't all be winners. Next is Hill House. This is Joe Hill, which is... Joe Hill wrote Lock and Key. I think that's what he's best known for. The other thing he's known for is, it's being Stephen King's son, and I'm sure he loves when people bring that up. Anyways, so Basket Full of Heads. If you know anything about Joe Hill, you'll know that he is a slow burn kind of guy. He will slowly build something up, and right now it just seems like it's a small town, and there's a cop and his girl, and they're sort of coping with their relationship and coping with his job and small town life, and there's a couple of weird deaths here and there, and they're sort of getting the ball rolling. I can't wait to see where it goes. I believe there's a mysterious cursed artifact in play. But Basket Full of Heads, issue number 1, it's pretty darn good. If you're a horror fan, I know you're going to like how it turns out. But it is a slow burn, so don't expect a lot of action in this first book. That's all I'm going to say. Next is Roku, and, this is weird. I say weird with a smile because I didn't hate it. I just didn't know I wanted it. This is issue number 1, Valiant character, and it is basically... If Medusa from the Inhumans was trained as an assassin and had some psychic powers, that's Roku. Okay, she's dealing with other psychic and powered up assassins and, navigating a wild world that may or may not be tied to the other assassins of the Valiant universe, which could be. Valiant does tend to do that at times. I don't know. I don't know where it's going. It's weird. There's a lot of action. I didn't hate it. I just didn't know I wanted this kind of character. It's essentially Assassin Medusa. That's exactly what it is. She's got red hair. Her hair is giant and sentient and can kill people. It's wild. So, if you're an Inhumans fan, you'll totally love this. So come pick it up. Next is look at our damaged copies of Silver Surfer Black. A lot of them came in damaged like this because UPS decided to ship them on the sides. Hooray. We'll take a phone call right now. Live comic shop, we got all types of wildness going on. This is Silver Surfer Black issue number 5. This is the wrap-up, which is weird. I thought they were going 6 issues. But there's a lot to unpack, It's good. They reference a lot of Marvel events. More importantly, they reference a lot of Silver Surfer Marvel events. So if you know his history, you will know some of the stuff they reference. But the way they do it is equally... The writing is almost as psychedelic as the art feels. And it's a good wrap-up. I will say I'm perfectly happy with issue 6. And it might change Silver Surfer's mythos forever, but it's a wild, wild ride. I don't know. I kind of feel like this should be the comic that would go with like Grateful Dead music or something. That's just what it feels like. So anyways, Silver Surfer Black issue number 5. This is Donny Cates, Trad Moore, and Dave Stewart. I think that's exactly what they were going for. Was psychedelic Norad Rad. God, that is a tongue twister. But Yellow Submarine. But it's really, really good. It's a good ending. I'm happy with it. I think you'll be happy with it too if you've been following these books. So come pick it up. Next is The Road to 100 for TMNT. And that is issue 99, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is the Eastman variant. I picked it out because I really love Kevin Eastman's art. And these covers never disappoint. The last issue centered around the Mutanimals dosing part of a crowd of New York at a political rally and turning them into mutants themselves. So, and then they had to sort of like get them on a plane and save them from the guys who kill mutants, which the main guy, I forget his name. He's like a cyborg, partial cyborg thing. But yeah, so he was there. And it's building towards a big fight between the clans. And meanwhile, Splinter is trapped by the Foot because he's lost control of the Foot clan. And the Rat King is hanging out with him, which is a weird combination. I haven't seen the Rat King in a while. So it's building towards a fight, a giant fight, and it's very clear that it's happening in the next issue. So yeah, you need to read this. This is Eastman, Waltz, Wachter, and Pattison, issue number 99, TMNT. Go pick this up if you're a TMNT fan. Wow, this one is an amazing, amazing, amazing book that I cannot sing enough praises about. And that's the Sandman Universe presents Hellblazer. Granted, I'm a pretty big John Constantine fan. I had a really, really good time with this book. It opens with, well, the world has gone to crap. It even mentions that, like, Zatanna's lost her eyes, and there is a yellow demon ripping out the heart of his host. That's clearly Edrigan. Yeah, and Jason Blood. There's basically magic has gone haywire because somebody that Constantine has trained has turned into a complete Slytherin jerk, is how it's described. So the world's just pretty much gone to heck. Meanwhile, Constantine meets a guy who turns out to be, well, a future version of him that makes him a deal and transports him to another universe. And that universe, I'm relatively sure is our universe. I don't know. I mean, comics mimic events pretty good, but it is mimicking our universe dead on. Like, it opens where he stands up, like he's next to a billboard that says Brexit or something, and he's like, the hell? Like, I really, really wonder if he's in our world right now, and I'm excited to see where they go with this. I'm not sure what any of that means, but, let's wait and see. This is issue number 1. This is $4.99, and this is a DC Black Label. I wouldn't say for good reason. I don't think there's anything too wrong with it, but it is dark and a bit maddening at times. And they do explain that madness is a constant, which, if you know anything about Constantine, that's pretty true. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But this comic is amazing. Go pick this up, issue number 1. You can't go wrong with this if you're a DC fan. Next is The Last God, and I mean, there's a lot of fantasy here. The art is amazing. It's just a bit weird. It's sort of like a fairy tale gone wrong involving, well, a god they call the Mad God of Flowers, I guess, that sort of pierces through people. And it's essentially putting people on vine pikes, I guess you could say. Yeah. And so there's a guy who supposedly destroyed the evil god, and he became king, but things might not be as they seem. And so there's a prophecy in place. So as far as a fantasy novel is concerned, it's pretty good. This is Philip Kennedy Johnson, Riccardo Federici, Sonny Go, and Dean White, and this is another DC Black Label. As a fantasy book, it's pretty good. It's just very wild and weird and surreal. It feels like a mix between fantasy and sort of Roman Colosseum type stuff. It's wild. Oh, the artwork is amazing. Like I really sort of undersold it when I was talking about it, but like I really, really like this artwork. It's great. Something about it is captivating. The story, I don't know. It's just weird, is what I'm trying to say. As somebody who likes fantasy, I was a little confused at times, and maybe that might be intentional, so we'll have to wait and see. But if you're into fantasy, I really don't think you could go wrong with this. Here's another book that if you're into fantasy, you really can't go wrong. That's Conan the Barbarian, The Fate of Conan the Barbarian. So he's been dealing with a blood god. No, wrong. He's been dealing with flashbacks caused by a blood god for about 9 issues. Now we're on the 10th issue, and is it resolved? Sort of. They're kind of getting to it. They explain the creepy kids that remind me of the twins from The Shining. They explain them. They sort of go into what's happening in the now in the Tower of the Blood God stuff, but it's still not resolved. It's weird. This is the slowest burn of all. Jason Aaron, Mahmoud Asrar, and Matthew Wilson. The art is great. The art is really, really great. The story it's Jason Aaron. You can't go wrong with it. It's just, for some reason, it's just been a long flashback the whole way through. So, yeah, it's still not resolved, but we're getting there. Issue number 10, come pick it up. Next is a weird book, and I think they did this on purpose, but I can't be certain. So this is Chrononauts issue 1. Now, they released Chrononauts issue 1, 2, 3, and 4 all on the same day. I'm not sure why. I have no idea why. I don't know if ordering got something wrong. I'm not sure what's going on. I've never seen that. Usually they space it out by a week. They're all on the same day. So what's good about the story? The story was awesome. Really, really awesome. Centers around two scientists. One is a family guy. The other one is sort of a wild, like, single life bachelor sort of guy. Meanwhile, they're both extreme geniuses. They fly a spaceship that is shaped like a guitar. The reason being because it looks badass. That's what I meant to say. Is that okay? Do we need to censor badass? I don't know. Maybe. We'll just leave it in. But, so, that's what happens. Meanwhile, they fly into the past. They've never flown into the future. They can make portals into the future. It's weird. But basically, they're geniuses. They mess something up. They get trapped in the past. And then they jump around to get back. It's great. If you love Back to the Future, you will absolutely love this story. I was captivated. As an issue number 1, I had a really good time with this. The art's pretty good. It's pretty good. I have nothing to complain about for the art. The writing was really on point. I'm wondering if, because time isn't so important to the storyline, that if they're not going to get weird with it, that's why they came out with all 4 issues on the same day. I don't know. I don't have a good explanation for it. But we got all 4 if you want them, so come on through. Next is Joker Killer Smile, and this is Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino, Jordi Belair, and I got to tell you, if you like Jeff Lemire and his Moon Knight stuff, you will love this, because, my God, what a mind screw it was. I had a really good time with it. The art was pretty good, although I will say that this Joker looks a little too much like Leto's Joker at times, that it kind of bothers me. But the rest of it is pretty good. It centers around a psychiatrist that is sort of trying to cure the Joker, which that never works out. And this is a prime example. This is why you don't try to cure the Joker. Yeah, it's a mind screw. It's good. It's Jeff Lemire doing what Jeff Lemire loves to do, which is mess with your head. So come pick this up. It's a black label. I had the best time with it. It's not my pick of the week, but it's pretty close. It was a really good read. So yeah, come pick this up. Next is, we got to talk this one out for a second. So the last issue, we saw that Superior Spider-Man gave up his clone of himself and Peter mixed together and went back to Otto to try and best both Spider-Man and Norman Osborn with 6 arms, which I can't remember his name. Do they just call him another Spider-Man? I think they do. But at any rate, that was fallout from the Spider-Geddon event. And seeing Otto go back to Otto Octavius, the old school sort of chubby scientist guy with octopus arms, was cool, but didn't make me happy. I'm sad that San Francisco and the Bay Area is losing their cool new superhero. More importantly, I like this Superior Spider-Man run. I'm not sure what the problem was, why they felt the need to end it. But this is the last book in that run, and it's kind of a sad ending. It was a bit of a tearjerker for me, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not happy with it. That doesn't say I didn't have a good time with the book. It's an ending. It's nice to see it wrapped up. They didn't leave us hanging, but it's just a sad ending. It's not what I wanted for Otto. So at any rate, this is Gage, Hawthorne, and Von Graubadger and Belair. I think I'm just saying I'm sad to see Superior Spider-Man come to an end, but anyways, come pick this up. Okay, we're going to get on to the quick review section, and these are going to be go or no-go, which are paratrooper terms, and we can't help that. But go will be what books we recommend you go pick up, and no-go would be you can skip it. And we're going to give about 1 sentence, maybe 2, regarding each book, but we're just going to go fast and furious. So let's see. DC's number 6, if you've been following this series, go. If not, go pick up previous issues. It's a good ending. Again, really, really sad ending. It was kind of a tearjerker, but still pretty good. Transformers Galaxies. This is, well, sort of a go. If you got the issue 1, I would say go get issue 2. But it has the Insectobots. It's kind of weird. A little confusing at times. Didn't hate it. Didn't love it. Sort of a go. That one's kind of in the middle. Go, no go. Yeah. Vampire State Building, absolutely go. This is from the makers of The Walking Dead. This is how the vampires infect the world through Vampire State Building. I loved it. Had a good time. Hellboy and the BPRD. If you are a Hellboy fan, go. This is 100% great. I had the best time. It reminded me of old Hellboy. Go pick it up. Doing a break? Oh, okay. Aquaman Giant. It's $4.99. If you love Aquaman, of course go. Yeah. Rick and Morty. No go. Not at all. The art was really bad. I don't know what was going on with the artist. Starks, Visaggio, McGinty, Stern, Crank did not have the best time with it. Doctor Strange Annual. Go if you are a Doctor Strange fan. It's pretty good if you're a Doctor Strange fan. Archie 1955. No go. I don't know. This is just Elvis. Yeah, wannabe Elvis. Runaways, issue number 26. If you're a Runaways fan, go. Don't even go if you want to start with Runaways. It's a good jumping off point. Bloodshot, issue number 2. I think that this is referencing the TV show because it feels like a retelling. I'm not sure. I'm a little confused. I'm fuzzy on my Bloodshot. Go if you like Bloodshot. Wonder Woman Annual. Go if you want to see Wonder Woman as a secret Argus agent.
Oh.
It was pretty wild.
Okay.
Star Wars Allegiance. Go. Had a pretty good time. If you're a Star Wars fan, you'll have a pretty good time. That's our show for the week.
Oh, shoot. I don't even have a drawing. Kill time.
Oh, we got to do our drawing. So, I don't know. Can you cut this? Our drawing. Round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. But you'll win a poster. Right?
Ready.
All right, ready. 232.
That would be Adam Salvador Hernandez.
Adam Salvador Hernandez, you've won a poster. 135.
Curtis Espadera.
Curtis Espadera, you've won a poster. And finally, 87.
Danny Crunk.
Danny Crunk, you've won a poster. That's our show for this week. So, yeah, we'll see you next week.